when you see those 11 guys in an England shirt or in a Brazil shirt, they incarnate England or Brazil with all its strengths, with all its flaws, and it's also a picture of who belongs in the country. So a big issue in many Western European countries over the last 40 or 50 years is that the national teams progressively became less white. You know, people of immigrant origin entered those teams. So France is now a majority non-white team, and that leads to all these debates about who is part of France, who is part of Frenchness, and those debates are channeled through the national football team.
And I was going to ask you precisely that. When you mentioned, Bolsonaro sort of takes on the jersey as part of his campaign strategy, is it effective or is it divisive for an individual political leader in a country that is becoming much more divisive to say, I'm taking on this national jersey for myself? And by the way, I don't think that a lot of the other people that are in this country really reflect true Brazil, for example.
I mean, absolutely. In a very divided country like Brazil, you take a national symbol, maybe the national symbol, the yellow canary shirt, which is associated with Pelé in 1970 and greatness, and you turn it into a partisan item. So much so that going into the 2022 World Cup, just after Bolsonaro had been voted out of power, it was difficult for anti-Bolsonaristas to wear the shirt because they felt it had become associated with him. So in an extremely divided society like the US as well, everything becomes a culture war. I would say that in countries like the Netherlands or Germany, which have their own divisions but less stark, the national team is still something that unites society. I've just come from the Netherlands, extremely proud World Cup tradition, reached the final 3 times, and their whole streets will be decorated in orange. And you can go around wearing an orange shirt, and people will do just as part of their daily business. And it will be something that everybody will smile warmly at. But yeah, in our divided societies of today, even the national team becomes divisive.
And so in Britain and France, how does it feel right now?
Well, in France, you have this brilliant team. France has reached 4 of the last 7 World Cup finals, 1, 2, lost the other 2 just on penalties. So it's really the best team of the last 30 years. It's now very largely non-white. A lot of guys whose parents were African immigrants to the suburbs of Paris. Kylian Mbappe, the captain, who's of Cameroonian and Algerian origin, is a great example. And then you have the far-right party, which is probably going to win the presidency next year, and the team and the far-right are in conflict. So Mbappe and other players have spoken out against the far-right. They've spoken out against the most popular party in the country, and the far-right attacks them back. And if any player has an off-the-field scandal, or if France play badly, then the far right will attack them and suggest that these non-white, multimillionaire, often expatriate players, they're not really French.
They're not really French. Yeah, so I mean, I by the way, I think it's way too early to talk about who's going to win the French elections next year, but I take your analysis on how the people are thinking about the team absolutely on point. And so the UK?
In England, there's also been some culture war around the team, which also has several black players. And after the Black Lives Matter movement in the US, at Euro 2020, which was played in 2021 because of COVID, the team would take the knee. I think they still take the knee before kickoff in protest against, violence against black people. And there was a section of the England crowd, their own crowd, that would boo them. And the manager, Gareth Southgate, had to appeal for kind of understanding and empathy. And so a lot of the debates about what kind of country are we, and black people are allowed in the national team, but are they allowed to take stances on particularly black issues, that was conducted through the national football team.